All right, good morning or afternoon, whenever you're watching this, everyone. My name is McKenzie from the Travel Group, and I'm back again for another one of our travel talks. I don't have a cocktail in front of me today. Normally I do, but it is only 10 a.m. at time of recording, and even though airport rules apply and you can drink whenever you want right now, it was a little bit too early for me. So anyway, I digress. I'm really excited today because today we're talking about a destination that absolutely changed my life when I went to it. You can see from the view behind me, the gorgeous view, we are going to talk about India today. And I'm really excited to have Erin Rogers from Geadventures with us today. She's going to talk to us a bit about their National Geographic journeys in India, which is a pretty amazing, fairly new product that they're offering that really enriches the experience. And so, well, who better to talk about it than Erin? So take it away, Erin. First, let's start with how are you doing during this crazy time?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking, Mackenzie. I'm fortunate to live in Canada where everything is absolutely beautiful this time of year. And I've been doing lots of talking about travel, which of course keeps the dream alive and the hope alive. So personally, I'm looking to plan my next adventure. So it's nice to connect. Thanks for inviting me.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm not sure why it went back to me right then, but okay, great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about National Geographic Journeys? I know it is a fairly new product, but Geadventures has been around for quite a long time. So maybe you can tell me a bit about how National Geographic Journeys are different from standard or the other different travel styles that Geadventures offers.
Of course. So with Geadventures, we've been running our small group adventure tours for 30 years. The National Geographic Journeys collection was just launched 5 years ago. So it's a collection of unique tours that allow travelers to get a little bit deeper into the heart and the culture of the places that they choose to explore. At G, we've always believed that our travelers are travelers and not tourists, and we're actually natural born explorers. So we've kept that vibe put that in our National Geographic Journeys collection, added in enhanced accommodations, a little bit more hands-on exploration, the additional support of local experts, but also included the freedom to roam. And I would say traveling on a National Geographic Journeys tour is similar to kind of being a part of a documentary or traveling through the pages of one of their beautiful brochures or magazines.
That's a great way to describe it. Having been on a National Geographic journey, I definitely agree with you that it does feel like you're part of a you're just more immersed in everything. And it feels like more than just going to see different sites, but actually experiencing the life of the people that are around you and really getting to experience the destination in a way that I hadn't really ever imagined was possible. So yeah, let's talk about India. On a Geadventures tour in India, obviously there's a number of itineraries, but what would you see as being some of the must-see highlights that you would experience on a Geadventures Nat Geo tour in India?
Wow. There is so much to see. To be honest, most people that visit India once with us are already planning their second trip by the time they return home, because it's such a massive place to visit. So we have a total of 42 different itineraries. Of that collection, there's 6 that belong to the National Geographic Journeys collection. The biggest highlight to see in India, of course, has got to be the Taj Mahal. You can't go to India and not see the Taj. So that's what we include in a lot of our itineraries. We always get there first. So one of the charms in traveling in these small groups is that we're not waiting for 50 people to load onto a coach bus to get to a site in the morning. There's usually only an average of 12 of us, plus our guide who's local, to get us in that door first. So most often our groups are the first ones reaching the Taj in the morning. And I think that's just like a dream experience for our travelers. In addition to the Taj, it's I kind of want to say craziness, I guess, of Delhi that a lot of people really enjoy when they travel there with us. Delhi is one of those places that you can read all the books, you can watch all the programs on TV, but until you step foot off that flight arriving into India, you will have no idea what it's like to be kind of overwhelmed with the sights and the sounds and the smells and the kind of moderate chaos that exists in Delhi. But I think our travelers really enjoy that and embrace it because it's so different than what they would know at home. In addition, I think that, I mean, of course, the culture is really amazing. It's not like one physical site that you have to go to see the culture of India. A lot of the tours include cooking classes, and meeting the locals seems to be one of the things that our travelers always review as being like just absolutely amazing on their travels. In India, the Rajasthan area is quite popular to go and see the old forts and palaces. Some of the places that we're staying at in these National Geographic Journeys tours are like you're in the most exotic marigold hotel. So I think that's absolutely a highlight because it's, I
Absolutely.
mean, you don't really find that kind of property to stay in downtown Vancouver or most Canadian cities. Um, the other areas to visit, of course, in India, in the north, you get Rishikesh, which is where yoga was developed. A lot of our travelers enjoy the wellness program that we operate in Rishikesh, or that visits India, but also visits Rishikesh, where they get to learn about the origins of yoga. Up in the north, you also get to see Dharamsala, where the Dalai Lama visit or lives right now, actually not visits. So you can visit the area where the Dalai Lama resides and learn about the kind of Tibetan Buddhism, in addition to the Sikh religion, which you'll hear about if you visit Amritsar and the Golden Temple. I mean, it's a massive country, which is why most of our travelers, they go for a snapshot, I think, in the first trip, spending on average 14 days in India. But by the time they're returning home, they're already thinking about where they want to go back to visit next.
Okay, so that's awesome. And one of the things you mentioned, you were talking about the Taj Mahal and being the first people in. So I got to be the very, very first person into the Taj Mahal the day I was there. Yes, it was an extremely early morning, but it was 100% worth it to watch the sunrise over the Taj Mahal. And one of the things I never realized about the Taj Mahal is that, I'm thinking like, oh, it's white, it's marble, but there's actually inlaid stone, like gemstone or like minerals that are in the construction of the structure. So when the sun rises, it actually glistens almost like stars. It's
Beautiful.
absolutely mind-blowing to be the first person there and get the picture of the whole grounds with nobody else in it, because usually it's impossible to get a photo there with nobody else in it. So it was absolutely spectacular. So the tour I went on as well, we went to some major spots. Went to Delhi, Agra, and Jaipur, but we also went to a little small town that most tour companies don't visit. What's the draw for G Adventures to take guests to these small, off the beaten path communities?
Gosh, there's so much. I mean, there's so much that you can see in guidebooks, but when you're there, kind of, it's the hidden gems that really stay with you forever. G Adventures has always been based around community tourism, so that's a big focus for us. We keep everything local by using only local guides, which we call our chief experience officers, staying in locally owned properties, and the tourism dollar can go really far in these emerging nations. So tourists spend more than $200 billion in emerging economies every year, which is why the current COVID-19 situation is going to be a lot harder on some of these communities than it is on more kind of Western countries. But visiting these local places and getting off the beaten path, it not only enhances the experience for you as a traveler, but the local communities benefit too. So we want to make sure that when we're traveling, the tourism dollars are getting to the right people. So we do that by having those local accommodations, those local guides. We have local experts that join in. So diverting tourism is really important to us. It also helps to prevent over tourism in some of these areas that are so precious.
Wow, that's awesome. And holy smokes, what an amazing segue, because my next question is about something that I've noticed on G Adventures in the last year or so, something called the Ripple Score. Can you tell me a little bit about the Ripple Score and why G Adventures uses this type of plan to rate their tours?
Yeah, for sure. So from when we began 30 years ago, we've always been saying that we are focused on sustainable tourism. We want to take care of the local communities. Um, but we didn't really have a way to measure how well we were doing at that promise. So the Ripple Score was developed, actually, it began back in 2016. So we started reaching out to our local offices around the world to kind of connect to see, actually to do a survey. We did a G-Local survey to see what percentage of the inclusions on tour are actually benefiting the locals. So what we're looking at is the accommodations, the transportation, the local tours, the guides, the restaurants, that transport that picks you up from the airport and takes you to your hotel. We want to know if that's a locally run business. We want to know where that money is going and if it's benefiting the local community. So the Ripple score is the product of this. So the G Local was the first survey back in 2016. So it took us a while to get everything together. We run over 800 tours. So it was a lot of bits and pieces that we had to measure. And the Ripple score is what you'll find in the brochure. And that indicates the percentage of services on tour that are local. So we're really proud at G Adventures that our average Ripple score is 93. So when you're on a tour with us, 93% of the dollars that are spent in destination are staying local. And that's pretty amazing, I think. And I mean, the founder of G Adventures, Bruce Puntip, is always talking about how travel can be a force for good. And we really believe in community tourism. And this is the way that we're able to showcase what we're actually doing for the travelers on tour.
You know, that's really awesome, because I think that, you know, up until, I mean, you know, travel trends are obviously going to evolve a little bit given everything that's going on. But I think one of the biggest trends in the last few years has been sustainable tourism. It has been how to keep the money in the destination, because I think there's been a lot of news about, you know, different companies that operate where, you know, you go and see these destinations and then but no one there is actually benefiting from it. So I think G Adventures was a little ahead of the curve on this. I'm really happy to say the tour that I went on in India with G Adventures Nat Geo had a Ripple score of 100. You know, we stayed at these amazing little hotels that were, you know, they're very interesting properties. They're not necessarily what I'm used to here in North America, but they were so comfortable. The people that worked there were so friendly, and you just felt like you were getting a much more local and authentic experience than you would be staying at like a major chain hotel. And the same with our guide and with the different experiences we had on the tour just felt a lot more authentic. So aside from, you know, helping the local economy, I think you're also getting a more authentic experience. So I really love that. You know, you've talked a little bit about, you know, community tourism and sustainable tourism, but G Adventures does even more than that. G Adventures gives back as well. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about Planetara and the G for Good initiative. And then, you know, maybe what are some of the organizations that G works with in India specifically?
Yeah, for sure. So Planetara was founded by G Adventures founder, Bruce Puntip, back in 2003 as a way for us to give back to the communities that we visit around the world. So Planetara is focused on kind of 4 major pathways in terms of support. So we're looking to support women in a lot of these underdeveloped and emerging economies. Women are the last ones to reap the benefits of tourism. So helping them with education, microloans, funding their businesses, and empowering them with education. We're also focused on youth, and again, in a lot of these areas, actually in particular India, there's over 18 million kids that live on the street. So youth is a big focus for us in a lot of these places, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that one in just a few. We're also focusing on rural and indigenous communities where they can use a little bit of extra help. We offer guidance and training, and then the environment, of course, it's really important for us to protect the places that we visit. So we launched a plastics initiative this year, and there's going to be more coming through the environment focus over the coming years. One of our big ones right now is the Ocean Health Fund, because we're doing a lot of small ship cruising, and we want to make sure that these oceans are clean and to get rid of the plastics. So with Planetara, we also support 85 different G for Good projects in 51 countries. It's big numbers. We've been working towards this for the past probably 10 years, and we're aiming towards having 100 projects in our tours. So these projects are areas of tourism where you as the traveler can really be helping out. So we don't do anything like digging ditches or building schools. We leave that to the experts. Our initiatives are mostly funded just by you, the traveler, visiting. So I'll give you some of the examples of our community tourism projects that we operate now in India. So the first one that you'll kind of explore, I suppose, when you arrive into India. It's an initiative called Women with Wheels. And Women with Wheels is an organization that existed within Delhi to help women to get their personal chauffeur license or their driver's license. So women are kind of the last ones, again, to benefit from tourism in most of these areas. So we want to give women a little bit of a boost. Through the Women with Wheels initiative, we help to train 500 female chauffeurs in the year 2019, which is a crazy number. So as a traveler, when you're arriving into India, we offer a complimentary arrival transfer. So there's going to be someone at the airport meeting you with a sign that says G Adventures and your name on it. And that's going to be one of the graduates from the Women with Wheels program. So in addition to the education and the driving skills, they're providing access to healthcare, access to community support, to counseling, whatever it is that these women need to help to take care of themselves and their families. And that's just, I mean, just an amazing initiative. Actually, when I traveled to India, I received one of the Women with Wheels as my transfer driver, and she was the only person on the road that did not use her horn to honk. And if you've traveled in any of the roads in India, that was shocking to me.
It was something to get used to for sure, the honking.
It's so different. Our general manager for India, Rushab, is just a lovely human. He
Yeah.
told me that they don't need lines on the roads in India because you just drive into the next available space.
That is very true. It was a very an innovative way to drive, I think. Absolutely, definitely maximize the use of your space around your car.
Yeah, it's so different from what we know here in North America. We're just hyper organized with everything. But that's one of the charms like with traveling in India, is that it's just so different. You know, you just kind of have to like go with the flow a bit, let yourself enjoy the sights, knowing that you're in the safety and security of the small group with a guide that is going to take care of everything for you.
Yeah.
The other project that we support in India is a city walk. So this is a really cool experience for the travelers because, as I mentioned, there's 18 million kids that live on the streets in India, which is just heartbreaking and shocking. Through the Salam Balak Trust, there's initiatives in place to help get some of these kids off the street, as many as they can, really. So the Salam Balak Trust houses over 5,000 kids in New Delhi at any one time. They provide them with housing, with counseling, with access to higher education. The money that's raised through the City Walk helps to support scholarships and work placements. So as a traveler, what you receive is a guided tour through the streets of Old Delhi that's led by someone that used to live on the streets. So they're graduates from the Salam Balak Trust that are working as local guides now in the tourism industry with aspirations of being a bigger part of the tourism industry. So we actually are, we've employed guides like to run our tours throughout India who were initially part of the Salam Balak Trust program. We have some of them working in one of our G Values Fund restaurants called Delhi Street Eats. And so this is just like such an amazing program, and the stories are heart-wrenching, but you get to go in to learn the stories of these kids who used to live on the street, and they're filled with hope. And I think that's really nice. And I think that's what the traveler will get after this experience. All the hope that there is because of this amazing initiative organized by the Salam Balak Trust. So
yeah, it really blew my mind. I got to do the city walk in Delhi, and you know, we visited the organization afterwards and met a lot of the kids that were kind of moving through the program. And it really was, you know, every part of the trip in India blew my mind. Like you turn a corner, mind blown every time. You know, you're eating food, mind blown. You're experiencing
the
some of these
food's so
sites. Oh,
amazing.
the
I didn't
food
even
is
talk about the food.
well, we could be here for hours if we were talking about the food, because the food was just phenomenal. And you know, the cooking class we did was amazing. It was just wonderful. But the city walk and meeting those kids and then going on that tour, it was just like where you don't get that anywhere else. And then to know that you're going on a trip and spending, you know, the money that you have, which is you know, we're in such a different economic situation than people are in places like India or in Southeast Asia or Africa or any, you know, any number really of any other destinations outside of Canada. but that the money that we're spending is not only enriching our own experiences, but it's enriching the lives of people that we visit and people that are making it their life's work to get to make sure that we enjoy ourselves as well. And so it really did blow my mind, just every aspect of that experience. So yeah, is there anything else that you want to talk about with India before we wrap this up?
Oh
I
my
mean, we could
gosh,
go
it's
on
making me want to go
forever.
back. I actually wanted to show you when I was in India. So I was there maybe about 4 years ago, and my guide gave me this lovely little gift,
Oh, it's so
which
beautiful.
was amazing. It used to have another arm here that went up, but it fell over when I was unpacking. So I pulled it off my shelf actually because I wanted to show you. I thought it was really neat. It's hard to see with this light, but it's a little Ganesh statue. It's nice to buy the souvenirs like right off the people that make them too. I mean, there's such a great opportunity for us as travelers to have a better and a more positive impact. And I think that I mean, I've been with G Adventures for 15 years now, and I'm just so proud of the work that we do. In addition to offering these like really cool travel experiences, there's just so much more behind it.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice to be able to share that with someone like you who's had the chance to go on one of our tours and really kind of know what it's all about.
You know, I can't wait. And you hit the nail on the head when you said most people, the minute they land back in Canada, they're planning their next trip to India, because I dream about it. I can't wait to go back and see more of that country because it's such a big country, and I feel like I had this amazing experience, but I really only scratched the surface of what is really available in India. So
We have 41 other itineraries for you to choose.
well, I have lots of options then,
Yeah.
absolutely, and I need some more of that food.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, listen, Erin, thank you so much for taking some time today. You know, I know that it's going to be a bit of a road before we're back to exploring this amazing world, but I hope for some of the viewers that watch this today, that's got them dreaming about when they can go to India and experience a culture, a community, and a landscape and environment that's just completely breathtaking in every way that you can define that word. So thank you so much, Erin. I wish you all the best. And if people want more information about G Adventures, the National Geographic Journeys, or India itself, please feel free to reach out to me. My information is all listed below. And I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. So thanks again, Erin, and have a great day.
Thanks. Namaste.
Namaste.